Hot on the heels of the launch of XTR, and here we have the follow-up act, the Shimano XT M8200 Groupset. Now this is excellent news. Our main complaint with XTR was the high price tag, and XT aims to address this by using less exotic materials and omitting some of the features. The result is a significant reduction in price. The XT drivetrain, for example, comes in at nearly 40% less than XTR. To see what impact that's had on performance, I've had the new XT drivetrain, the 4-piston brakes and wheelset fitted to my test bike for the past couple of weeks. In this video, I'll be talking about my experience so far. We'll be going through all of the key components to discuss the differences between XT and XTR and why you might choose one over the other. We'll start off with the new XT Di2 Derailleur, which is almost identical to the XTR version. The key difference is the derailleur cage, which misses out on the carbon fibre outer plate in favour of an all-alloy construction. Now this adds 58 grams of weight, but it also drops the price by $200. The XT Di2 Derailleur comes in at 989 Australian dollars with the battery and charger. Otherwise, it shares the same construction and features, including the new solid jockey wheels, the automatic impact recovery function, and the new spring-loaded damper. As for options, you can get the XT Di2 Derailleur with a long cage to suit the 10 to 51 tooth cassette, or a mid cage to suit the 9 to 45 tooth cassette. It's also available in an e-bike specific version that ditches the battery in favour of a wire that connects to the bike's main battery inside the down tube. Up next is the XT Di2 Shifter, which at 301 Australian dollars is $70 cheaper than XTR. The only real difference is that you can't restrict the XT Shifter to a single mechanical click. Now this hasn't bothered me personally, as I found it easy to get used to the double mechanical click after the first few rides. You're otherwise getting the same light action and tactile feel, and the adjustable paddles allow you to get each one into the ideal position. The Shimano XT Crankset receives minor updates to the finish and shaping of its hollow forged alloy arms, which are now available down to a length of 160mm. Otherwise, they carry over the same pinch bolt interface and the 24mm diameter steel spindle, and there are no changes to the bottom bracket either. There is a new one-piece alloy chainring, which helps to save some weight over the previous steel and alloy version. This sees our crankset weighing in at 609 grams, which is very close to XTR. Despite this, the XT cranks sell for half the price at 398 Australian dollars, including the chainring. There have been some changes to the new XT Cassette as well, which features an updated rivet structure to eliminate creaking. It otherwise maintains its hybrid construction with the 2 larger sprockets made from alloy and the other 10 forged from steel. There are no titanium sprockets like you'll find on XTR, and that means the XT Cassette is nearly 100 grams heavier. However, it comes in at nearly a third of the price at 285 Australian dollars, and you can expect those steel sprockets to last longer too. You still get options with 10 to 51 tooth and 9 to 45 tooth ratios. Shimano recommends pairing the smaller cassette with the mid-cage derailleur and a shorter chain, which gives you a compact setup that offers more ground clearance, less noise, and better retention. Moving to the brakes, and there are more similarities than differences when comparing XT with XTR. In fact, the lever bodies are identical, and that includes the servo wave linkage, the free stroke adjustment, and the tool-free reach dial. To save costs, the XT brake uses a bushing in the lever pivot instead of a cartridge bearing, and the lever blade misses out on the upswept profile found on XTR. The other point of difference is found down at the caliper, which uses a bulkier 2-piece construction. This adds just 7 grams of weight while dropping the price by $100, with a single XT brake coming in at 373 Australian dollars. More importantly, the 2 brakes share the same hydraulics, which includes the 15 and 17mm diameter resin pistons, the updated rubber seals, and the low viscosity mineral oil. The XT brakes also get the new generation fin pads, which feature a tighter fit to minimize rattle. These are backwards compatible, so you can fit them in previous generation Shimano brakes. There are more substantial changes afoot with the XT Wheelset, which switches the carbon rims for alloy. These feature a shallow profile with an offset spoke bed and a 30mm internal width. Shimano still uses 28 spokes per wheel, but they have a thicker gauge, which does add a little bit of weight. In the middle are brand new XT hubs, which feature the same hub shells and direct engagement free hub mechanism as XTR. They do miss out on the premium stainless steel cartridge bearings, though because they're a standard size, you do have options to upgrade the XT hubs if you wanted. Now, due to the alloy rims and thicker spokes, the XT Wheelset comes in nearly 200 grams heavier than XTR. However, it also cuts the price in half, with the XT Wheelset selling for 1,513 Australian dollars. To test out the new Shimano XT M8200 components, I fitted a complete group set to my Canyon Spectral AL6. Now, I've put together 3 separate reviews on the Di2 drivetrain, the 4-piston brakes and the alloy wheels, which are now live over at flowmountainbike.com. You'll find a heap of info in there on specs, installation and how everything has performed so far. We've also got an article on the new Deore Di2 Derailleur and Shifter, so head on over to the Flow website for everything you need to know. To keep things brief, I'll touch on some of the highlights from my experience of testing the Shimano XT group set. But firstly, I really like that Di2 shifter. It's got a much lighter action than the mechanical version, while still offering a nice and tactile feel. The wireless setup is tidy, and without a cable to worry about, shift performance is fast, consistent and reliable. The Hyperglide Plus chain and cassette are already well proven, allowing you to shift under hard pedaling loads whether you're on a regular mountain bike or an EMTB. Compared to the old clutch, we've found the new spring-loaded damper to reduce chain bounce, leading to quieter performance on the trail. There is still a metallic-y noise on big compressions, which I believe is from the derailleur rotating on the B-axle and then snapping back down on the B-tension plate. The noise is short and sharp, and it's comparable to a mechanical or a SRAM axis derailleur. However, because the new damper avoids the breakaway sensation of a clutch and the chain whiplash that follows, to me it feels like there's less noise and vibration overall. Speaking of the derailleur, the mixed rock-smacking experiments with the XTR Di2 drivetrain have already proved just how tough it is. Shimano designed the Di2 derailleur to get out of the way when required, though in a worst-case scenario, the hanger is always there to absorb an awkward impact and save the frame or derailleur from damage. The new brakes are also a real highlight of the XT group set. They're smoother and quieter than the previous version, and there's better modulation around the bite point with less of the on-off sensation that has characterized Shimano brakes over the past few years. The updated servo wave linkage ensures you've got plenty of progressive power on tap, giving them an intuitive feel that makes it easy to lock up a wheel when required, but not too easy. While I do miss the upswept lever blades found on XTR, the lever ergonomics are still excellent. The pivot point sits closer to the bar, which sees the lever tip following a similar path to your forefinger, which just feels more natural and comfortable. I'm also pleased to report that our XT and XTR brakes have been thoroughly consistent all the way through testing, with zero wandering bite point to speak of. It would appear that the new low viscosity mineral oil and updated caliper piston seals have done the trick, and we trust that Shimano has finally put that issue to bed. Aside from some hose tapping on the handlebar, I haven't encountered any real downsides with the XT brakes. However, there are some points worth mentioning with the Di2 drivetrain. Compared to a mechanical XT derailleur and shifter, it's worth noting that the Di2 setup is more expensive by $1,000. It's also heavier, with the derailleur on its own weighing almost 200 grams more. Of course, the motor and battery add weight, but it's clear from looking at the two side by side that the Di2 derailleur has a much beefier construction. Based on our testing, we've found it to be incredibly tough and reliable, but whether it's worth the added cost and weight will come down to the rider and how much they value the wireless setup. Now, one other potential downside is the shifting noise, which can be louder with Shimano's Hyperglide Plus chain and cassette compared to SRAM transmission. On the flip side, the Di2 derailleur is much faster moving up and down the cassette, so it swings and roundabouts. Now, there is a bit more to it than that, and if you're curious to know how XT Di2 compares to SRAM's GX-axis transmission, XTR Di2 and XT mechanical, I've put together some detailed comparisons in the full review over at flowmountainbike.com. If you're keen to check them out, just click the link down below. That's enough from me though. What do you folks think of the new Shimano XT group set? Is it more appealing than XTR? Is there anything you don't like about it? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to ask any questions and I'll do my best to answer them for you. Otherwise, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Tooroo!